that I get stressed out enough watching the game. If I actually had to worry about winning, if I had to also sit there and worry about I'm going to lose money if we didn't cover, I couldn't deal with that.
I couldn't deal with that either, man. I'm the same. I'm the same way, brother.
Welcome to My Got a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, my co-host John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with Vanderbilt. We also talk about Greg McGarry's retirement, which was announced the day we recorded. As always, remember you can follow us on social media at My Got a Podcast. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, 5 stars obviously, and review the show. If you leave us a review, you just might hear it on an upcoming episode. Now, let's join the conversation in progress.
Well, we've got the Doors on Saturday. Last home game of the 2020 season.
Last home game.
Yeah, kind of weird.
We hardly knew ye.
I know. And with the huge, the huge gap of no home games in the middle of the season, we had that going for us. And I'll say also, we don't yet officially know if this is the last game of the regular season or not. We should find out soon, though. It sounds like December 4th we'll find out if there will be a Missouri game, as
yes.
what I read today. So we'll see about that. But yeah, what's up?
Are we worried about us playing this game at all?
I wasn't, and then I saw Roddy Nabulsi said something today about that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay, so was his tweet when you were referencing?
That's what I'm alluding to, because I noticed that chatter today, because like normally he doesn't tweet that kind of stuff unless he's got some rumblings.
Right. Get to the dog vent.
Yeah, to the dog vent. Yeah. Well, he is pushing a 75 for 75 deal. So
I did see that.
Not a sponsor.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. I'll tell you. After I saw that, the thought definitely ran into my mind. Again, we're recording this on Monday night, so we're recording early. I'm going to hold on to this one for a couple of days, so folks will be hearing this days after. I'm going to wait until at least after the midweek press conferences before we drop this to see if there was any, any fire from that smoke that Roddy was fanning today. We'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that I had mentioned this to you, but if you were to replace the Vandy, you replace the South Carolina name with the Vandy name on our previous show, we probably would have been fairly safe in the analysis for the pregame for this, because all of those things still apply.
Yes. And now we will play the last episode where I have edited everything to change the names. Agreed. Let's see, we got 4:00 kickoff, SEC Network. I looked at the forecast. Looks like no rain in the forecast. And it is senior day. I don't know if you saw this past weekend. Did you see the video that Rick tweeted out about David Jacobs?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was awesome. It was weird. Kim started slicing an onion right when I was watching it. It was so weird. The timing was very strange.
I was sawing something, and there was just sawdust everywhere.
But so the interesting thing about this senior day is we don't know seniors can come back next year. So, we'll see. I would imagine those who have already accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl will not be coming back. But I don't want to get too much into that, I guess, here on predictions and everything. But that is something to talk about as when the season does conclude. There's some seniors that I could see coming back at this point, but I guess we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there.
That you could see, or
yeah, I could see some seniors coming back potentially.
Yeah,
I don't think
mean,
it'll be I don't think it'll be a ton, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had multiple. I would say.
yeah. I think someone was talking about Demetrius Robertson. They were asking him about it, or he was offering comment on it, but he basically said that he wasn't ruling it out or whatever. But I mean, I would have to say that he is one of those guys that is solidly in the category of could use another year.
Yeah. If he could, he could improve his stock. I mean, if he could show what he did at Cal here, or at least something close to it, that would definitely improve his draft stock for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we mentioned it on the last episode, but like Jordan Davis would be kind of in that category. I feel like too.
Yeah. Rochester's an interesting one too because he still hasn't come back since he got injured, right?
Yep.
And it's interesting with him because they redshirted him last year. They like played that 4-game thing last year, so he could come back for next year this year. And with all this stuff, the way it's gone, who knows? I could see him potentially as somebody as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so we'll 4:00 kickoff, so the game will end under the lights. Get to light up Sanford, so that'll be nice for those in attendance.
Love it.
Looking at the series, we are 58-20-2 all time against Vanderbilt, and we are 8-2 against them in the last 10 meetings. Do you recall what years those 2 losses were? One of them we've talked about on this podcast before already.
Didn't they beat us in 2016?
Correct. Yep, 16.
Yeah. I don't remember the other one, but it was during the James Franklin era, I believe.
Yes, it was. There was like an egregious targeting call. Is the thing that sticks out in my mind from this game. It was 13. So 13. It was in Murray's last year that was like the ravaged by injuries season. But yeah, I just remember Ray Drew got ejected for targeting in that game. And it was like some crazy penalty. Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Was that before they changed the rule where it could be reviewed or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that was year 1 of targeting when it was like basically it was like there was no review, and like the reasoning at the time, they were like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing and I'm putting this is my opinion. It was basically like, well, we can't hurt the ref's feelings by telling him that he was wrong. It's kind of like their logic behind like, well, we can't just take back what they just did. So I would say still room for improvement on the rule, but it's definitely better than it was back then.
Right.
So this I looked this up today, and this really hit me today. So this is going to be the first time that I didn't go to a home game since 1993 when I was 13 years old. And I'm a man, I'm 40 now. So
wow.
It hadn't really, like I made the decision a while ago to not go this year, but it didn't really hit me until today. So last time I didn't go to a home game was 93, but I did go to a game. I went to the Tech game that year actually in Atlanta. Last time I didn't go to a game at all was 1992 when I was 12. So I don't know. And then I had that like, well, maybe I should go.
Why don't you go? Sounds like miserable and Minnesota is going to be in town.
I know. Yes. And that actually made it even like worse when he was like, so what, friend of the show, Tim Riley, is going to the game. And I'm like, oh God, just rubbing it in after already had this realization today of how long and Tim's going.
Yeah, seriously. Unfortunately, actually, now that you say it, we have a soccer tournament this weekend, so I might be able to sneak over there if I wanted to after the second game. So I don't know. Maybe we should both just sneak away.
We do have Lily has her last soccer game, a regular season game. No tournament or anything this weekend. So yeah, I don't know. I talked to my dad today about it, and he was like, well, we could. So I had him help me figure out the last time I didn't go to the game because I had some question marks. And he was like, well, I'm sure we could find a ticket. I'm like, I know, but like Lily's got soccer, all this stuff. So
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyways, so
It's also going to be. It's also supposed to be pretty cold, right? Or
yeah. Although it gave me a chance to like wear my starter jacket that I got. I got a nice like Georgia starter jacket.
please tweet a picture of yourself in the new starter jacket.
It was I made it my Twitter profile pic for a little bit when I got it. I took like a like very joking picture, and I did like a looking off to the distance in my starter jacket kind of picture. It wasn't there very long.
Everyone, please comment on Jim's starter jacket when he posts a picture of it.
That's nice. It's from it's starter, but I got it through Tailgate. It's got like a 1980 national champions patch on one arm, or it lists both. It's got the 42 also, which isn't brought up very often, and it's got like standing bulldog on the other one. It's pretty sweet. I like it. It's nice. Super bright red. It's awesome.
It sounds phenomenal. I'm surprised you had to order it. I'm surprised it wasn't just like an original that you just hung on to with all of your archives.
So I have an old jacket. I have an old black one. I don't have it in my possession. My parents have it. My mom found it. I need to get it back from them. And like, we're pretty sure it'll like still fit me because it was like I'm not a very large person. And it was like the smallest jacket they could, get for me when like I was a kid. So like it was huge on me, but I think it would like actually fit me now. So I got to get it back. It's not actual starter, but it's the same look. They got it from some store that was like at Perimeter Mall or Lenox Mall or something back then. I'll have to look at that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So, but I digress. I got some news and notes. You want to hit some news and notes?
Let's hit the news and notes, Jim.
All right. Derek Mason is out at Vanderbilt. So you actually alerted me to that on Sunday. You texted me that. I was unaware. I was not by the Twitter.
Thanks for the PR win, Derek. Now you're fired.
Right. Exactly. So offensive coordinator Todd Fitch has been elevated to interim head coach. And that's all that I know about Todd Fitch. I read something, I looked up and saw it was like 5 things to know about Todd Fitch, and nothing really jumped out to me. So I'm not even going to relay it. I guess the other big thing just came out today that McGarity is retiring at the end of the year, which I was reminded, and Seth Emerson put an article about already on the Athletic, and in that I was reminded of the fact that remember he had put his house on the market, like within the last year that kind of came out, and he was like, oh, I'm just downsizing. So definitely questioning that now, whether that was the case or not. Seems like he's maybe been
refresh my memory again.
So a while back, it was reported that McGarity had listed his house was for sale. And so everyone was like, whoa, is he going to leave? Because he's been running on these 1-year contracts for a while. So there were rumors swirling with the last contract renewal, would he come back or not? And so again, around he's selling his house, and Greg McGarity was like, no, we're downsizing. I plan to be back and everything. And he did come back. But to have him now retiring so soon after, so basically it's at the end of 2020, he's retired, and Josh Brooks will be the interim athletic director, while a national search is conducted. I don't know if you saw, there's a focus group, I guess, to help with the search, and apparently Kyrus Jackson is on it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very interested in that job, but I have a feeling that they're going to stick with elevating Josh Brooks to a permanent role there.
Yeah. I mean, the main 2 names I keep hearing are Josh Brooks, and then and now I'm blanking on her name. I think it's Carla Williams. I think that's it. She was here. She was basically kind of the number 2 before Josh Brooks was, is the way I recall.
I was joking if we were going to bring Damon Evans back.
Oh man, I did like him when he was the athletic director. But yes, I know you were joking. But yes, we cannot. He cannot come back after that.
There's no coming back after that, Chief. Especially
Yeah,
2020.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll say, generally speaking, I mean, I'm happy about it. And I would just like to see like the things that bother me. I say the number one thing that has bothered me is just like the swapping of the home games with Auburn and with no plan to get it back. Just things like that. I don't know, like, and maybe your hands are tied and there's nothing you can do, but I wish he would like speak out publicly against such things and at least like express displeasure with it. I don't know. I'd like to see a bit more of that. I know that's not like number one priority of an athletic director. You got to do a lot of fundraising. There's a lot of contracts and there's all kinds of like super business stuff you got to do. But I don't know. Just a thing that I would like to see from whoever it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we can all kind of agree that the athletic program in general has really kind of not really done a whole lot other than, a handful of success stories here and there. But like, his major hires have been kind of, other than Kirby Smart, have been kind of meh.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
yep.
You're the basketball guru in the house. How do you feel about the basketball program as it stands today versus before McGarity came?
It's probably about the same. I mean, which is not good, right? I mean, it's been a roller coaster ever since the end of the Jim Herrick era, which, another topic for another day, but I still hate how that was handled. And I mean, that was Dooley, as far as athletic director, but that was Dooley and Adams. That whole thing, I still think was silly. So whatever, you can at me if you disagree with me, but like, to Felton, the program was just in shambles after Herrick. And it's like, so at this point, that's so long ago, you can't really, use that. That was definitely a problem for Felton. He never got things going back again. And then Fox inherited that. I would say I liked Mark Fox. I think it was time to move on. I think we kind of saw what the ceiling was, right? Mm-hmm. And I was excited by Crean. I wanted like Thad Matta as who I originally wanted. He turned us down, didn't come back to coaching as far as I know. But then I got excited about Crean. The guy won the press conference, when he was hired. He plays an exciting brand of basketball, but we don't have anything to show for it yet. So I don't know.
We have a number one draft pick, Jim.
We do. That is true. That is true. We have the Ant-Man. We have number one draft pick, but nothing to show for it at Georgia.
Yeah.
But hey, 1-0 this year, undefeated. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Will be interesting to follow.
The biggest thing from a football perspective, I feel like, is going to be, where does it go from here? Because I feel like that there's this kind of stigma out there that, every time they need to do something at the University of Georgia, they have this war chest of funds, the surplus. And it kind of became a joke, was like, we must protect the surplus at all costs. Like, but yet we're going to hit up the donors for every construction project that we undertake at the university for the athletics. So I don't know. I just feel like that there's two different types of athletic directors, and I guess that there's like the CEO financial kind of guy, and then there's like the Philip Fulmer, like, I know supposedly know the athletic side of things, and you'd like to figure that we can maybe figure out a way to get a combination of the two, kind of similar to, I mean, like you said it earlier, like if Damon Evans hadn't, gotten drunk and driven home in Buckhead, he probably would still be the athletic director at the university, because he actually did a really good job. I mean, he was there when I was there, but he kind of towed that line between former athlete and CEO type character.
Yeah. Yep.
And frankly, he was better with the press than McGarity ever has been.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I liked Damon Evans. I don't know. I liked him when I hated when that. I mean, obviously had to move on. That was disappointing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like when he was the athletic director, I always liked him.
Yeah. But that's the kind of person that I would like, the guy that can win the hearts and minds, in the press conference and that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
but can also back it up from a financial standpoint. Wasn't it Evans that originally got us into those like high profile, non-conference games, like where we
It was. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. He scheduled the Arizona State series, Colorado series.
Boise.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That was him. So yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be interesting to watch. That was big news this week. So had to hit on it a bit. We'll definitely be following that closely. Okay. So for the football stuff, for the game stuff, um, Kirby's first thing he said in the press conference was, "I would like to see the fans show up and support these guys on senior night." And again, I was like, "Oh, Kirby, gosh, you're killing me." This
Come
is
on,
all.
Jim. support the team.
I know, seriously, horrible. So yeah, we also found out in the press conference, like officially, Kirby acknowledged that Dwan Mathis has entered the transfer portal, and he said that Dwan didn't want to be a distraction to the team, and was kind of disappointed that the news broke on Saturday. Although, like, he wasn't there, so I'm not sure how they thought it wasn't going to break. But anyways,
Yeah, seriously. I don't want to
uh,
be a distraction. Sorry, guys, but I'm not going to be there, and everybody's going to
yeah,
ask why I'm not there.
right. That was interesting. But Kirby said that he has encouraged Dwan to stay, wants him to stay, but understands and will help him, throughout his transition and process. So, I mean, I don't know. Wish him the best. I wish it would have worked out. It hasn't yet. I think he's got a lot of talent, and I think he needs to play. He needs reps. So, best wishes. Hopefully he can find that somewhere.
So one thing that I didn't think about until just now, since we were just verbalizing this out loud, what does that do to the scholarship numbers? Does that take him off the scholarship numbers for this year, or?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think I mean, are you thinking like you could give a walk on a scholarship for the
Yeah,
less?
something like
Yeah.
that, or take it off. Can someone come in early now?
Early, I would say probably yes, like because he would be not here in the spring. So like you could have someone that
Right.
maybe in the spring on scholarship
Yeah.
they wouldn't have been kind of deal. But for this season,
Mhm.
I mean, because I think like unless he like dropped out of school, like I don't know, I would assume you don't want to do that. You need the credits to be able to play or whatever.
I mean, one of the things that Kirby's been good at is roster management. That was something that Rick really struggled with. So
Yeah.
I would imagine
Yep.
that he's, you know, I'm sure that he's playing silly. We're of course we're asking him to come back. We want him to come back. Blah blah blah. Which, to his credit, we have seen that in the past. Where guys say that they're going to leave and then they end up coming back.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember the guy's name that most
Robert
recently
Beal.
did it.
Robert Beal
Robert
last
Beal.
year. Yep, and he's still
Yeah.
here. Yeah, yep, he did that.
So
Yeah,
I
he
think
entered it. Yeah, entering your name in the portal doesn't necessarily it means that you're open to just have conversations with those schools.
right,
There's nothing final about doing that. So yeah.
but he had to see the writing on the wall there. So
Oh yeah, I don't fault him. I mean, yeah, I put myself in his shoes kind of deal. Although I grew up in Georgia, like an insane Georgia fan. So, saying would I have done it? No, but that has no bearing on what DeJuan Mathis or anyone should do.
how hilarious would it be if he transferred to Ohio State?
So yeah, that's like the nightmare scenario. So I don't see that. So one thing that I am kind of actually rooting for, he's from Michigan. And at one point he was committed to Michigan State. So I'm
Hmm,
kind of rooting for he goes to Michigan State and plays for Mel Tucker. I think that would be cool. I don't know.
hmm,
So that's my preference. Duan,
interesting.
if you're listening, that's what I recommend. Mel Tucker's a good coach. I think he'll right the ship there. So
Yeah. Okay.
so actual injury type news updates. So Mark Webb is dinged up. Didn't go this last game, but should be a go this week. Apparently, LeCount is doing some jogging and such. But Kirby used the word hopeful at one point, which clearly means he will not play. That's what Kirby says.
Because that's what he does. We're hopeful.
Yeah. So there was that. I guess that's really it on the injury front. From what I saw, I didn't see anything mentioned about Jordan Davis. So I don't know. He didn't say he's hopeful, so maybe that's good. Although he didn't say it last week either. So I don't know. I'm not gonna count on him being back this week either. We saw the funny the kind of funny tweet that I tagged you in with his quote about Arian Smith, where he said that Arian Smith has worked hard. We thought he'd be ready for the Florida week. He was cleared by then, but cleared doesn't mean you're ready to play. Where have we heard that before?
JT Daniels.
So
man, he was dropping all kinds of breadcrumbs for the Kirby the Kirby haters to come home.
Yeah, he was. Oh, we didn't talk about that in the South Carolina review. What was the thing that he said? Or no, it was today. What did he say? I don't have the tweet, but somebody said it was Dog Post tweeted this. I didn't go back and listen to Kirby's press conference yet, so maybe I should have. But I don't know what the context is. But Kirby said that you can't opt out in life.
What?
You see that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess I should have looked at Dog Post.
I don't know exactly what the context of the quote was, but that was an interesting one. Wonder who he's subtly talking about there, if he actually said that, or if I don't know. I want to know what the question was, but he definitely said it. We'll have to do some digging on that one.
Don't they usually do a thread of all the quotes from the press conference? So
that's the thing. That's what was interesting. Is like I generally grab this stuff from 960 the Ref, like their Twitter account, which I think is Logan Booker most of the day.
Yeah, I feel like it's Logan.
And so like they do a really nice like running string of the big comments. I didn't see that from theirs, but I saw a Dog Post tweeted Kirby's quote that you can't opt out in life. So I don't know. We have to go back and listen to the whole press conference there. Those were the news and notes that I had.
That's a really interesting. I'm like fascinated by that comment because it's so out of character.
The opt out of life.
Yeah. Like it's so out of character for him to say something like that. Like I kind of, my wife and I have been like binging The Crown because like we kind of got off of it for a while and now we're like trying to catch up on it.
I might have to edit this out because Kim wants me to watch The Crown with her, and I haven't watched it with her, and now I'm going to get in trouble.
Why haven't you watched it?
I don't know. Sometimes I just I'm like, I don't want to watch this show, and I have like no good reason. And generally, whenever I do that, and Kim finally convinces me to watch it, it's amazing.
If you liked Downton Abbey, you'll like The Crown because it's basically like Downton Abbey in real life, except it's not back in the day. It's fairly more recent. Anyway, I compare that quote that Kirby said to The Crown. Like it's almost like Queen Elizabeth said something like she actually showed emotion in her statement, and I feel like that's like Kirby slipping up from a UGA royalty standpoint. Like, oh shoot, now everybody knows what I'm thinking.
Well, shoot. Now I can't find it. So now I might have to delete this entire section because I don't want to spread rumors. But I definitely saw it. So I wonder if they deleted it or something. You found it? Okay.
No, yeah, I'll link it over to you because I found it it was in the Dog Post.
It was from Dog Post.
Yeah, it was at 12:15 today. I'll text it to you. So what I'm thinking is like not only is that just like out of character, but like, dude, the Corona Bros are gonna come after you, kind of thing.
Right. Well, yeah. That's why. That's why I want to know what the question was.
And that's basically And that's basically what I see in the thread there. Like, people respond to that one comment or whatever. If you go down and look at it, like some of the first comments are like, dude, if he wants to stay safe from the pandemic and not die, like that kind of stuff.
The best response in this Twitter thread is from Bassin Dog, because it's the picture of Tennessee with Butch Jones, and like they're holding up the game of life. Because remember, he said that they were winners in the game.
So funny.
Amazing. So yeah, I don't know. Now I need to go like listen to the press conference to see what the question was. I should have done that, but I didn't have time to. Okay, let's talk about the game. So I texted you earlier today. Vanderbilt's not good.
Vanderbilt is not good. Yeah,
they're not good. They have not won a game. They're winless. Mason is gone. And like looking at their rankings in categories is really bad. So if you're talking about our offense, so I looked up their defense. In the SEC, their defense is 13th in yards allowed per game. They are allowing 480.9 yards per game on average. They are also 13th in points allowed per game at 36.8. Counter that, our offense, we haven't been world beaters, although we've been much better the last two games. So we're 7th in yards gained per game at 397 yards a game, and we're 5th in points per game. We're scoring on average 31.3 points per game. I guess you can say they're not last, but they're 13th out of 14 teams in the two major team statistical categories. I watched the game, a decent amount of their game this last weekend against Missouri. They just couldn't get anything going, at all. So
here's something I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to hit on, something positive that I feel like that may come out of this game for Vanderbilt is, last week there was a lot of hoopla about Sarah Fuller, the first female kicker or first female to participate in a major conference football game. Obviously that was pretty phenomenal, but she didn't really get to do anything. She did was do a squib kick, which she did really well. But I think that everybody is kind of waiting for her to kick her first field goal kind of thing, or extra point or something.
I totally was. That's why I had the game on. So I had my multi-TV set up, and literally the only reason I had, I guess two reasons. One, we were going to play them in the next game, but I'm still not sure I would have had it on if it wasn't for her. Definitely wanted to see her get a chance. And I guess I was starting on the path of our offense, their defense, but I will say, again, as far as their offense, they couldn't even get her in field goal range. It's come on, guys.
Did you see?
Give her a chance. They showed her in warmups. Get her in a decent range. She could make it. I'm not saying she necessarily would. People miss kicks. Certainly possible she could have missed, but she could have made it, and they didn't even get her a chance. I don't know. That was frustrating. I was come on, Mandy.
Did you see the SEC shorts on that?
Oh no, I have not.
SEC shorts did a video on the Vandy game about this, where they had you have to go watch it because it's that guy is just deadpan. The Iron Bowl one I thought was pretty funny too, but the Vandy one was pretty good.
Okay, I'll go check it out. So that's why I was watching that game was to see her get to attempt a kick.
But yeah, so I think that you were not alone there. So she didn't get to do that. She got to do kickoff. So there's the potential for us to be, the opposing team for that historic moment, which will be, all over the place. So I have a feeling that she'll probably get an opportunity, just to at some point in the game, whether it's garbage time or whatever, there'll probably be a field goal kicked at some point.
If Missouri didn't let them in field goal range, you think we're going to?
I don't know, man. At this point, it's 2020. It's senior night. I mean, it is a night game, right? So there's that.
It's 4 o'clock. Yeah. So we don't have like the 12 o'clock. We don't have the noon,
Yeah, the
like
noon
the
mojo.
snoozer. Right. Yeah. So at 4 o'clock is much better for that perspective.
But what I'll say about this, and Sarah Fuller made more headlines, and in my opinion, should have made more headlines than she did for what she said at halftime to this team.
Yeah.
Um, you know, her participation in the game was one thing, but what she said to the team and exposed to the world was eye-opening for how they played on Saturday.
Yeah.
She basically called everyone. She scorched the earth of that football team. So, I have a feeling that they're probably going to come out pretty angry, in general. So, like, that's why I say I feel like I'm kind of expecting a fight because they just got goose egged by Missouri. They just
Yeah.
lost their coach. Their kicker didn't get, their female didn't get to participate as much as they wanted, that kind of thing. So,
Yep.
I figure we'll have a riled up Commodores team coming into Athens, but I'm not
Yeah,
too
that's true.
concerned about being able to handle them. But those are some of the things that I feel like that we're going to see is that she kind of put a challenge out there to the team, and it's up to them to kind of answer it. But we'll see.
She did. I loved her post game, like right after the game too. Like they asked her, like, "Were you nervous going out there to kick?" And her response was, and I'll paraphrase, but it was she said no, like not. She was like, "No, not really." And she was like, "I was more nervous like in the SEC championship game in soccer."
Well, she's a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
She's a goalkeeper, and shout out to my son. There's a special mind. There's a special mind that has to take on being a goalkeeper. I was a goalkeeper, so they're a
I
little bit
had
crazy.
Lily ended up like in goalie tryouts one year at club soccer tryouts on that like it was I say it was on accident because she was not signed up for goalie tryouts, and so we had to have a talk where we quizzed her and said, "Lily, are you a goalie?" And her only response was supposed to be, "No, I'm not a goalie." We had to train her for future sessions so that wouldn't happen again.
Yeah, unfortunately, my son Carter, he was not lucky. He volunteered and ended up being really good at it. So
Yeah.
he splits his time between being a goalkeeper that takes literally everything out of him when they score goals.
Yeah.
He thinks he lost the game kind of stuff.
Right. Dude, yeah. Having your kid be in goal is super stressful.
It is. It is.
So, okay. So I took us into their offense, which led to the kicking talk. But I mean, so back to, I guess, to their defense and our offense stuff. I mean, like, the numbers for their defense are not good. Missouri just put up 41 points on them. I did look. So they do have a guy, and I'm going to butcher his name. I actually meant to look to see if they have a pronunciation guide on their roster like we do, but I didn't look at it. But Odeyingbo, he is tied with Ojulari for second in sacks in the league. So they've got that. So as far as individuals, he's a guy to look out for. So he's got 5.5 sacks, which although it looks on like the SEC site, they list, I think Ojulari with 6 sacks, but ESPN has 5.5. So somewhere around there. So they got a guy that can rush the quarterback. But that's the only thing that jumped out to me. So, again, Missouri put up a heck of a lot of points on them. I would expect, we similar game plan to last week, right? Establish the run, stick with what works. And again, like, more reps for JT Daniels. I mean, he hasn't played a ton of football, right? Continue to grow. See if he can clean up some of the mistakes that he made last week. I would like to see him throw the ball away, maybe in some of those like sack situations instead of taking the sack. Although a sack's better than a pick. The one where he I don't know if you watched Battle Hymn, but they talked about where he actually had a clean pocket and he ran out to the right and
Yeah,
kind
he
of
ran into the
ran into the sack. Yeah.
Mhm.
So stuff like that. I mean, he's not perfect, right? Like he still needs to. We still want to see him improve.
Yeah, I think that I'm torn. Like I really would like to have them just air it out just so that we can see like what we've got in the quarterback room. But at the same time, if you're presented with a defense that's just folding like a bad suit or whatever, the if our offensive line is pushing downfield 5 yards, like you can't really fault the coaches for wanting to continue to pound the rock like that. So if we get into a situation like that, I would not be upset. One thing that I would love to see is us to continue to utilize a tool that we wield with success consistently. So, the running game obviously was there last week, but in the passing game, we mentioned it in the last episode was, we had the tight end. We have another underutilized asset is Darnell Washington is kind of a mismatch for most guys. So like, I'd like to see us get a little bit more creative in the passing game to get some of those mismatches exposed in space to kind of play around a bit. I think that this is probably one of those games where we probably could play around a little bit with the offense just to see what we got.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I kind of agree with you that I think that JT just needs more reps. Is ultimately what we're saying here. It's just a matter of how we execute those reps. And I think that I think one of the things that I saw, I don't know it was the battle hymnal. I think it was one of the other guys. Is it SEC StatCat?
Was it Brooks Austin, mortal enemy of Graham Coffee?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Brooks Austin. It was actually a guy that posted a. I feel like it was SEC StatCat.
Okay.
But it was a guy that I had been following, and he posted a clip of a film review, and he mentioned in the clip that Georgia has had it was some stupid stat like all of our success came off of this dagger concept, where it was the play that Kyrus Jackson basically ran.
Oh, that was a CC StatCat. I saw that. I saw that. Dog Stats asked him a question like, "Hey, will you do dagger?" And he did it.
Okay, was that what
it was? After that. It was after Mississippi State game, right? It was a Mississippi State review because it was he did it. The thing he posted was the last the game, essentially like the game winning touchdown against Mississippi State that Jackson
that must have been what it was. Yeah.
It was a second.
So I would love to see that play. I would love to see the dagger concept reappear in this particular game because we've had a lot of success with that from SEC StatCat. They posted a video about that. I would just like to see JT Daniels get more opportunities throwing the ball deep so that we can see what we got. And then frankly, I would love to see Carson Beck get an opportunity to see what he's got. And this feels like one of those games where just like the last game, and then we didn't mention it in the last episode, but we got to clear the benches.
Yeah, that was nice.
We got to clear the benches for the first time ever this season. So I would love to see a game like that pan out from top to bottom and just dominate. I would love for this game to be 40-0 in the second quarter and just run the offense with Carson Beck. Sorry.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, so if you look at our defense, their offense, so looking at their offensive numbers, not any better than their defense. So their offense is 13th in the SEC in yards gained per game, and they are last in points per game. They're only scoring 14.3 points a game. On the flip side, our defense is second in the SEC in yards allowed a game at 338, and we are also second in points allowed per game at 20.6. Not good, Bob. This is like a nightmare matchup for them. I'll get some names though. So for their offense, their tailback is Keon Brooks. He is 11th in the league in rushing. The quarterback, Ken Seals, is 6th in the league in passing yards, but he's thrown 10 touchdowns and 9 picks. So there's part of the problem. And their leading receiver is Cam Johnson. He's 14th in the league in receiving yards. So that's my analysis of their offense. But and like I talked about it earlier, I kind of jumped into it and we segued into the Sarah Fuller discussion. But I mean, against Missouri, like they couldn't get her into field goal range. And that was against Missouri, which we haven't played them yet, but we did preview them. I don't know. I not a good matchup for them. I expect, just like we were talking with the offense, I would think we're gonna get to see some guys get some decent playing time here.
That would be nice. I mean it does really seem like a nightmare scenario. I mean, similar to the South Carolina game, except they got a little bit better of a quarterback. I mean, you look at the quarterback.
Yeah, I would say they do. Yeah, I mean, Doty was pretty good.
He's basically in the, I think in terms of like the completion percentage, like as far as how accurate he kind of is, like he's in between that like Felipe Franks, Bo Nix kind of mold. So based on those two comparisons, it could be a hodgepodge. You never know what you're going to get, kind of thing.
Right.
But
yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to sound like dismissive because, again, like I always say, it's college football. You're dealing with kids. They're 18 to 22. Anything can happen. All that kind of stuff. But I mean, they're winless. They're really bad. I mean, there's a reason. And I like Mason. Like, and I could see Mason maybe being successful somewhere else. I don't know. Vanderbilt is a different animal. It takes a certain person to have to write. I don't know. I mean, the expectations aren't super high, but you can't go winless, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're just. I mean, they're really struggling. They're really struggling. So I mean, again, so not to be totally dismissive, but like if we lose this game, I mean, like tons of stuff had to have gone wrong, and it would be one of those like, we should have won that game 99 out of 100 times kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the defensive side of things, they're worse than Ole Miss in terms of the number of possessions, the percentage of opponent touchdowns. So basically 7% of the time when you get the ball, you're scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I got some quick special teams things that I want to watch out for. I would like to punt I would like Georgia to punt the ball straight or to the right. I would like our kickoffs to go into the end zone. So basically, I want to keep it up. And I did look at their special teams. So their regular kicker, who was out with COVID or either had COVID or contact tracing or whatever, took out all the kickers last week. He is 3 of 7 on field goals for the year. Another not good Bob thing in Vanderbilt statistical categories. Vanderbilt is last in the SEC in field goal percentage. So not to beat a dead horse, but they've got that not going for them as well.
They're going to struggle in all 3 phases of the game. It's going to be a long day in Athens for them. Yeah. A long cold day in Athens for them. It looks like too.
And they don't even have starter jackets, so they don't have that to keep them warm.
Awesome.
All right. Let's hit our listener questions and then go into predictions. Is that you cool with that?
Yep, that works. I mean, not much more to say.
Okay. So along the lines of what we've been saying, UGA Hoops Mafia comes in and says, hypothetically, if Kirby were to leave the starters in and keep his foot on the gas, how many points could Georgia drop on Vandy?
Considering that we probably won't see that, but yeah, if we left the starters in, I don't know. I would say realistically 60.
I was going to say 60. I think 60s. I would say, yeah, and we won't, and he won't, but I think that's feasible. I mean, Missouri put up, it was 41, right? 41-0, I think.
Something like that.
So they just did that. And we just put up 45 on South Carolina, and statistically, Vanderbilt is worse. I would go there.
It looks like 41 is the magic number. Because LSU hit 40. LSU hit them for 41. South Carolina hit them for 41. And Missouri hit them for 41. And then Florida hit them for 38. Kentucky hit them for 38. Ole Miss hit them for 54, and they go lightning fast. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think 60. I think 60 is right. Could be if we left it on the starters, which we won't.
If we left in the starter, yeah.
And then UGA Hoops Mafia followed up with also Tyree Crump. That is all. Which that is a reference to last year's basketball game at Vanderbilt when Tyree Crump hit a buzzer-beating three-pointer to beat Vanderbilt. So he's throwing his hoops nugget in there as well. All right, friend of the show, Tim Riley, or as we like to call him, Miserable in Minnesota. What should I look for as I watch the game live from Sanford Stadium? Would My God a Podcast enjoy a live stream during the game? Tim just rubbing it in.
Yeah, we might need to do a FaceTime with him on this one. So that would be nice to at least get that perspective, because Jim, you're breaking a streak, man. You gotta have something to keep you tide it over or whatever.
Right. Yeah. If Tim can set his phone next to me or something with me there, and it's like I'm there. It's maybe even better than one of those cardboard cutouts. So
I was just about to say, how quickly can we get a cardboard cutout of you to Tim?
Awesome. So let me see. I think we have one other one, and we're gonna move this. We're gonna segue this into the predictions, and we're gonna make this our first prediction. So this is from Whit Barfield at WhitBar10 on Twitter, and he asks, "Will we see Carson Beck against Vandy?"
What up, Whit?
So we hit that a little bit, or you brought that up. So do you think we will?
I did. I don't think. I agree with Whit. He kind of gave us his 2 cents on it. I asked him about it.
Yeah.
I think that I would really like to see him, because we just need to know what's in the quarterback room for next season, frankly. So we haven't had an opportunity to see him. Obviously, if we play Missouri, we'll have another game in hand to kind of see what we got. I don't know. Either he plays and gets an opportunity, or we're going all in on JT Daniels between now and next year. And then when Brock gets here, he'll be reevaluated. And at that point, if Stetson decides to stick around, or if he moves on or whatever, then he'll obviously be, part of the backup opportunities. But if Carson Beck, when he came in, he was pretty highly touted. So it's almost like a DeJuan Mathis situation. If you see the writing on the wall that you're not going to be there, and they're not even going to give you a shot in a year where the quarterback position has been in absolute shambles.
Yeah.
Obviously you knew that JT Daniels, you kind of had a little sense for what he had coming in, but we've not seen a thing from Carson Beck. And all the while this turmoil has been going on, Carson Beck has been there 100% healthy, taking it all in. Obviously he's a true freshman, but they didn't feel that he was going to give them a good opportunity to win, obviously, because he didn't get any playing time at all this season.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like usually the true freshmen that come in and make an impact are those guys that graduated early, which is kind of becoming the norm for quarterbacks now, right? You get there early, you have spring practice. And I honestly
Especially
can't remember. I think he did graduate early and I think was there, but there was no spring practice. I mean, that, like I kind of glossed over that, like looking ahead to the season, like thinking back to our season preview time. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
That's true.
So I don't know, like, it was a new offense for everyone. So that kind of would help level it for him a bit, right? But, not being here, spring practice, coming straight from high school, I think that hurt him. So I don't know.
I'm gonna say that we're not gonna see Carson Beck
Okay.
if for no other reason but to simplify the offense, because in a year where we've gone through 3 quarterbacks and have had completely hit and miss performances across the board, you got a running quarterback, you got a quarterback that has wheels, but frankly wasn't really built to use them. An undersized quarterback that can't really, push the pocket over like Mathis did. And then we also got a quarterback now that's like, for all intents purposes, is not a mobile quarterback at all by any stretch of the imagination. He's not going to scramble out of the situation and get 50 yards. So with all of the complexity that's come into the quarterback position and how you coach it from a UGA perspective, I feel like that for the sake of sanity, they're gonna stick with this. This is the guy. This is the guy you all need to be in sync with. Like, why would we interrupt the timing of receivers? Why would we interrupt? Obviously, Pickens we didn't talk about Pickens in the last episode, but
Yeah.
Pickens had a resurgence in this game, which was fantastic to see. Obviously, Burton's been a key part of the passing game. We got McKitty involved. So, like, what we're doing is working from a passing game perspective. So, in order to just like pump the brakes on some of that and bring in Carson back and have him like get reacquainted with the timing and all that kind of stuff, like, I don't know. I just don't see that. I just don't see us pulling the trigger on that. I feel like we're all in on JT Daniels at this point. Wouldn't shock me to see Carson Beck enter the transfer portal, which, holy cow, if that happens, then we're going to be really we'll be munsoning about the quarterback position next year, because we're
gonna be like a Quincy Carter situation where he ran off like 3 guys back in 1998.
Exactly.
To be different, I'm gonna say yes. I had written down yes, actually, but then you just kind of talked me out of it. But I'm gonna stick with what I wrote down. So I'm gonna say yes, and that would just be because we're up by so much that it's like and then he gets in late.
Isn't Stetson Bennett a senior?
No, he's not
a senior. Okay.
Well, plus it doesn't matter, but everyone can come back, but he's also not. He would have at least one more year anyway.
Okay. I was going to say the only thing I could maybe see is Kirby throws in a senior, but we don't have any.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's true. Like if we get up, do they go to Bennett instead of Beck? But since he's not a senior, I actually don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. Or we may not see. We'll see. Well, we will definitely see whether Beck comes in or not. Okay. At the close of the game, will we see, and this is a bit subjective, but do you think this is going to be, for the Georgia offense, a ground and pound game or an air it out game?
Well, since the defense here sets up basically just like South Carolina, I feel like that it'll eventually be a ground and pound. Okay. But we said that we would see, Monken has a new toy and he would air it out. So, and then he did not air it out. So
right. Well, if you think it's going to be one way and it goes the opposite, then that's monkening, according to listener Brad.
we got to get the lexicon in here. Jim, I'm munsoning about monkening.
I like it.
I don't know. I'm torn because have you seen our running game, Jim?
Oh, I know.
Have you seen our passing game now?
I know. They're both good. So that's why I'm going to say push.
Push. It's a solid push.
It's a push. Okay. Are you going push as well?
I believe that we will run the ball.
So you're going to go ground and pound.
I'm going to go ground and pound just to commit just to commit to one direction. And
Okay.
if he ends up throwing for 400 yards, I'm happy with that too.
Nice. All right. Over under 0.5 return touchdowns for Kyrus Jackson.
I think that this would be a game that he would get it because hopefully he'll have a good bit of practice.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you. This is actually our first agree, so I'm going to say over. Will a Georgia player score their first career touchdown this week? A la Aaron Smith last week.
Dejan Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, you could go with Edwards, you could go Darnell Washington, you could go Carson Beck. Many options. Just will someone score their first
Has
touchdown?
Washington not scored his touchdown? I thought Washington did score a touchdown.
Not that I can remember. Fitzpatrick had one in the first game.
I feel like Dejan Edwards will probably get a touchdown, so I'll hit the over on that one.
Okay. All right, I'm agreeing. I feel like the field is big enough. Okay, so I got one last thing before the final. Will Sarah Fuller get to attempt a point after touchdown or a field goal? Will they send her? Will they send her out there to kick one?
I feel like she'll get an opportunity to kick a field goal. Yes.
Okay. They haven't confirmed whether she's going to even be there or not. Is the only reason why I'm questioning. So I'm going to say no, and I'm saying no because coaching change. I'm not sure that she's going to travel. Now, again, it's Monday, so I can sound like a complete idiot by the time I upload this and people are listening to me, and everyone can then laugh at me, and that's fine.
So hold on. So you're telling me that they haven't actually she's not technically part of the team, or?
Correct. I mean, so now again, all this stuff was with Mason, right? And so Mason said he'd love to have her back. And she said, yeah, I'd come back again. And he said, if her schedule allows it and all this kind of stuff. But, I mean, because, I also, there was a couple of things going on with needing her around, people having COVID and then contact tracing. So, if they're out of quarantine, the regular kicker could be back. Although, like I said, he's they're last in the conference in field goal percentage. So, I don't know. Maybe they need to mix it up anyway.
I feel like that would be a PR nightmare for them to not take her.
Yeah.
Because it's marginalizing her position when you elevated her so much, and we had all of the glowing articles about her, in the headline. So it would almost be kind of an insult for her to not kind of finish things out.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I ran inside and grabbed my daughter. So you got to come watch this. She's about to kick off. I thought, it was a cool moment. I was all for it. And I hated that she didn't get to kick a field goal. Not so much that I want her to get to kick the field goal against us.
Right.
But whatever. That stunk. That she didn't. They didn't even get her in field goal range.
Yeah.
But yeah. So okay,
we shall see.
We shall see. We will be watching that. Okay, we are now to the final moment, the score prediction of the game. So latest, looking at the line, Georgia is favored by 35 points, and the over under is currently set at 52.5. So, if it went straight to there, it would be something like Georgia 43-9, 44-9, whatever, something like that. What do you got?
I'll let you go first this time.
Okay.
I think I predicted last time.
Yeah, I think you did too. So, okay. As we said, with the UGA Hoops Mafia question earlier, don't think they'll leave the starters in the whole time. So we're not going to get to that 60 or anything like that. I'm going to say we're going to score 41 because as you just noted, that seems to be what everyone scores on them. I don't think we'll. I know, right? I don't think we'll have everyone in there all the time. I also don't think it'll be a shutout, which means that if Sarah Fuller does travel with the team, I do think she would get a chance there. So I'm kind of wavering on what I said there. But so she would get a shot. So I'm going to go like simple 41-7, which would mean that if it is Fuller, that she would make that point after touchdown, by the way. So 41-7 is going to be my pick.
Interesting. Well, they scored 17 against Florida. So they scored 17 against Mississippi State. They scored 12 against Texas A&M. I don't know. I like the 41-9 score. Was that was the spread, right? Or the predicted score?
So I was doing just based on like what the over under is, and then the spread would be like 44-9. I mean, technically it'd be 43 3/4 to 8 3/4. With like my math.
I think 41-9 sounds pretty good to me.
Man, you got Sarah Fuller making 3 field goals.
Assuming she makes the trip. I'm just playing the numbers here. I'm just looking just looking at the.
Wait, what did you say for our score? 40 what?
41-9.
41-9. God, we're so boring. I'm 41-7. You're 41-9. That's okay.
Well, I mean, I brought up the 41 for a reason, Jim. You stole my answer.
Hey, you can't. You shouldn't have shown your cards like that.
What are we playing, poker?
Right,
hey,
right.
Thanks, buddy.
Sorry. I had to.
Other things.
I don't have other things down. I guess, and we talked a little basketball last time. We do have a basketball game this week against North Georgia College, which I didn't. That was another add-on replacement for one of our. So that's in the middle of the week. That's Wednesday. So that game may have already occurred when folks are listening. Got that. That's the next game coming up. But yeah, I just don't have much else on this one. Like it's not a good matchup for Vanderbilt. They haven't won a game. With the way our offense has improved the last 2 weeks, I expect that to continue. And from what I've seen and what I saw last week watching Vanderbilt, I don't see them being able to make much of a dent, knowing what our defense can do. Again, crazy things can happen, but it would take crazy things for this to be a game, in my opinion.
Well, I think that this is one of those games where I just really hope and expect that we're going to clear the benches and get some game experience for everybody, get healed up, and maybe we'll play another game against Missouri and get ready for the bowl game, and kind of take the season on home and get the seniors that are going to be leaving, which it's kind of weird. Like if you got senior night, but yet like legally they can all come back next year. We're gonna.
It is weird.
We're gonna potentially double dip them.
Right. Yeah, that is weird.
Are they going to let people go out on the field like they normally do, or no?
That's a good question. I don't know. Like when I guess I don't know. Like I have no idea. We'll have to Josh Brooks would know the answer. Potential next athletic director, because he's the one that did all like the figuring for the seating arrangement and everything.
That's right. He was the director of game day.
He does game day, all the game day operation stuff. He came up with the seating chart, right, as far as social distancing. I would kind of lean towards probably not, though. I don't know, because I don't think they've been doing any of that like on the field stuff.
Social distancing for the win.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking of like that lineup, how it usually is with like the line of families, and then the players run out to them. I feel like they probably won't do that, which stinks. But many things have stunk this year.
So the line is, what did we say? Oh, so it's grown. So it opened at 33 and now it's at 35. So this is another fun fact. Apparently this is the biggest margin, the highest margin that we've ever been favored for an SEC game.
For an SEC game?
Yeah.
I didn't pick us to cover.
Now we're Munsoning.
Yeah.
now to throw a little Munsoning into the equation that we feel so confident about. So, so 33.5 at the time when this was from Patrick Garbin. Patrick Garbin says that it was currently at 33.5. This was on the 29th, so yesterday. But I guess the other ones that we've been favored by. So this one, Vandy, in 2014, we were favored by 33 against Vandy. And then the other ones are like Kentucky in 2011, Tennessee 2017, Arkansas in 2020. We were favored by 28 points there. Then you got Vandy and Vandy. So like Vandy very clearly has been one of Georgia's beat up brothers.
Oh yeah, I mean, this game is usually middle of the year, and when it's at home, it's homecoming.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Generally speaking. So, and again, the all-time series history shows that with the all-time record. And again, like I don't really care if we cover or not. I don't gamble. I get stressed out enough watching the game. If I actually had to worry about winning, if I had to also sit there and worry about I'm going to lose money if we didn't cover, I couldn't deal with that.
I couldn't deal with that either, man. I'm the same. I'm the same way, brother.
So when I'm throwing out these predictions, that's just what I think is going to happen. It's I'm definitely not giving gambling advice.
Right.
Just trying to get close. And I always enter in my score into the 7-6 apparel giveaway from Chase. So I use it for that too.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, maybe we'll get a live stream from Tim on Saturday. We may have to take him from that.
Miserable in Minnesota is bringing his weather down here with him.
Yeah. It's gonna be cold. Bring your starter jacket if you're going to the game. Stay warm. And well, my streak is coming to an end, but that just means that I'm going to start a new one next year. So, all right, Ben.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.